Hey Leesh, sorry this took me so long, but let's go ahead and watch a replay and see where we can improve. Um, might be going back and forth here and there, just bear with me. We're gonna get started now. So early on, one of the things with kickoff, this isn't necessarily a terrible kickoff. I think you're trying to do a speed flip, and we can sharpen that up with time, just practicing the mechanic a little more. But the key ingredient to taking a really good kickoff is as we land right here, right? We want to tackle this ball dead center, and holding our second jump is going to allow us to, direct the ball with it. We can flip it left, flip it right. The real key is to attack at dead center so that we're applying as much of force as we can in hopes that we're countering the force that the opponent is applying to this ball on the opposite end, and then we can then take advantage if they're tackling it left or right like we're doing here, and just power through, maintain possession. One of the key tips that I can give you as you start taking this kickoff dead center is look at that second man. We're going to look at first man as he's taking kickoff to kind of time it, seeing if he's speed flipping, then we need to do that too. If he's delaying it a little bit, then we can probably play it into space if we beat him fast enough. But once we establish first man, once we're tackling this ball here, the second man is what we're needing to look at. And if he's going left, then the best thing to do is to flip right so that we can keep it away from the man who has boost, right? We want to keep it away from their second man and hopefully keep possession, play it into this space that's going to be open. Likewise, if he's going to the right, then we can flip left and take possession and do it that way. But those are the real things that you want to focus on early on in kickoffs is just tackling this ball dead center so that we can win this kickoff and maintain possession. Now, as a twos main, if you can communicate with your teammate, we should be communicating rotations and tensions. But if that's not possible, then when we're solo queuing, we just need to make it painfully obvious that we're going to rotate. So in this case right here, this was a great way to do this because we're rotating. I saw that you kind of turned your ball cam off, and I'm assuming is to confirm the location of our teammate. I don't think we saw him there, so if this is something you're going to do, you wanted to hold on to it a little bit longer as far as turning ball cam off so that we can really see where our teammate is, so that we can do two things. One, prepare for the incoming shot if our teammate isn't, and two, avoid bumping our teammate as he pushes for the ball. Awareness is something that we want to work on in general for every rank, and everybody kind of starts working on this a little bit later in their progression towards the ranks. Like generally, you start seeing it at Champ 1 or Diamond. But early on, the better. If you can start getting used to looking at your opponents, you're going to be better off because we're not going to guess where they are just based off of the rank pace, but we're going to start really confirming where they are, and that'll help us, really make the right decisions every time. Now, in situations like this where the opponent just gives the ball away, we want to get really comfortable with making this first touch with ball cam, and then if we're looking to catch this ball and dribble it, then once we're under it, we want to turn ball cam off if that's how you're going to dribble. But us doing, this touch and as we're driving away from it, we're kind of creating a lot of space, and we're also opening ourselves up for the wide turn that this guy took to make the bump. Right here, good call. He's out of the play. I think if we cut in a little bit more as we touch this ball, we can cut in with it and take possession. Then we can put an easy shot to the left here, or we can dribble and then flick wherever we want it because we can beat our opponent. But the real key is to take this quick shot here in this situation, simply because we know that the first man back here is behind us, committed to messing this play up on his end. And so now he's out of the play, and then we have second man on the corner, and he's rushing to get defensive. So the best placement for this shot is going to be on the left side. But as we get this touch, and as we like kind of approach it right here, this is good because we're shadowing this guy. As we commit to this, we want to cut in a little bit better. And so one of the things that we can do as we cut into this ball is use a little bit of drift. So just kind of tap your e-brake, and that's going to allow us to, turn into this really sharp. It's going to also allow us to put a soft touch on it to where this ball is a little bit more controlled. And so then we can, get a quick flick shot or just, as we have 91 boost, try to speed flip into the shot so that we can get it into this left side pocket here. The other thing too is when we start to implement shadow defense right here, this is really good shadow defense, but we could make it a little bit better by getting parallel as opposed to being so far to the left here. We could be parallel, a little bit more parallel with our opponent. That's going to allow us to really like force his hand in one direction or the other, depending on where we want him to go. And as we see, because of his rotation, the only place that he can really put this ball is either dead. At this point he can put it to the left or right, but once he commits to contact, he's only going to be able to put it to the left here. And it becomes a determination of how well he's going to be able to put it. But had we been a little bit more parallel, we'd be able to get to this ball a little bit faster. Even if he put it, banged it to the corner. At that point, probably our teammate would be best to take over there, and we could rotate safely back. But if this was like a one situation, then we could really force him to bang it and catch it. Staying parallel is going to allow us to tighten the angle as we approach our back post, and also allow us to make an intercept play or anything else that we want to do as we close the distance, shadowing between us and the ball. Now, as you progress to recoveries are going to be vital, and they're going to help you get with a lot of speed. So as you get bumped here, I want you to practice drifting as you land, and then as we drift, we can turn our car and then start hitting the reverse button, because we're going to drift, turn with this momentum, and then it's going to have us to where our nose is pointing our camera here, and then we can start hitting the reverse button to use that momentum that we picked up as we're turning here, and drive backwards to then do a half flip, and then we can wave dash and just general speed mechanics to get back to the post. But the first thing we want to do is start working on using this drift, and anytime you land, literally anytime you land, you want to use the drift, just so that we can maintain momentum, especially in situations where we mess up our mechanics, like a zap dash or a wave dash, speed flip or whatever. When we mess those up, we want to be able to recover, and so using drift as we get bumped and we land is going to allow us to maintain momentum and maintain speed. So right here, one thing I would say, as you get bumped, you're kind of out of the play, and the only thing that you can really do here to make this a scoring option off of one shot is to get this bump. We want to look for these opportunities to bump or demo, so that we can make it easier for our teammate to get possession of the ball and shoot it. At this point, this ball is the only way we can really like make a goal here is if we strike it from this side of the ball. Like, we're talking about the back left or you know, if we get enough juice on it, we can kind of bang it from this pocket here to bang on the wall and then somehow make it in. The only issue is that is time consuming, right? Because once we bang it on the wall, it loses momentum, and it's a luck game. Like, we have to really like calculate this angle that we're attacking it from. So it's a very low percentage shot in terms of us shooting into the net. You could say that at this position too, we could also try to take possession of it, and it's very viable, you know, for us to try to take possession. You know, we're beating them to the ball. We get one first touch here. If we got a softer touch, where we made it to the ball a little bit faster, we could take possession and drive it up the wing. You know, try to make a play. But either of those options, you know, there's a lot of variables that are just too chaotic for us to really be able to make this a high percentage shot. So the best thing to do, since our teammate's already in this position where he's driving forward, he can close the distance pretty fast. The only thing he needs is a little bit of time. And so what we need to do is take this guy out of the play. This guy's out. This guy's done. He's not going to make it. If we bump this guy out of the play, we can either demo him, you know, by picking up speed early, and then once we do that, then we can try to bump this guy, make it a easy open net for our teammate. And so looking for these situations is going to help you work as a team. You know, this is twos is a team game. It's two situations of ones, but it's also very important that we have to keep our teammates involved, and to do that, we have to make their jobs a little easier. The same way that they're going to make our jobs easier by rotating and, you know, maybe driving up the wing and passing, or as we drive up the wing, they're going to be in the passing lanes. It's the same thing that we have to do for them. And so taking away our opponents is probably the easiest way for us to score a goal, because there's no defense, right? After we eliminate these guys or we bump them and take them out of the play, there's nothing that's going to stop our teammate really from shooting this ball. And even if he doesn't make it, at least we gave him the opportunity. So in situations like this where you're really close to the opponent and you're on their blind side, it's the perfect time to, you know, get this demo off and then hunt for the second bump here. But if we don't demo, even if we don't demo, just bumping him out of the place will suffice, because then we can bump this guy and then this guy. I mean, these two are in like perfect trajectory for us to bump him, because this guy's going to land right here and he's not going to have a great recovery. And then this guy's just going to sit here. So as we approach this guy, we can bump him out of the play, put him in this zone, and then bump this guy to keep him from getting to the ball, buying our teammate just enough time to really get to this ball and shoot it. And mechanically, as we approach this ball, there's one thing we have to do, and we have to get really comfortable with making this play with ball cam on. As we take ball cam off, there's a couple of things that we lose out on. For one, vision. As we're looking at this, you know, from this perspective, all we can see is this corner of the net, not the net, but the back wall and the curve in the ceiling. This is all useless for us. There's nothing up here that's really going to tell us what's going to happen in the pitch. And so if we had ball cam on, we could see from back of the ball side perspective where our opponents are and where the space is, where our teammate is, and where we can play this ball. It's a little uncomfortable early on just because this is such a weird perspective to drive on, but the more comfortable we get, the better off we are. And so as you make this approach next time, you should be looking at ball cam and taking all the information that you can see in so that you can bang this ball properly. The other thing is, once we go from this ball cam to this perspective, we don't really know what this ball is doing. We don't know the trajectory. We don't know where it stops. We're kind of just guessing based off what limited information we can see on it. And so ultimately we missed the ball simply because we didn't line ourselves up properly. Having ball cam on would help us. Now, if we wanted to line ourselves up, one thing I would say is if you have time, take time, right? So instead of immediately jumping at this ball here, we could kind of stay low, stay grounded, get some boost, get back post, and then challenge it from the other side. The reason you have time in this situation is because as we're making this play here, we're driving, right? You see it here, like this guy just gave up the ball and he's on the wing. Like the best thing that he's gonna do is maybe put a pass, but the other guy isn't in this zone immediately, and so this pass isn't going to come anytime soon. And so now at this point, we still don't see him. He's kind of further back in the center, and so he's not really in a great passing lane. He's not a great passing option. And then as we land, there is no opponent right here. He's kind of just waiting. So he is here because he's expecting this ball to drop because we're not going to touch it, and this guy didn't come from back post. So excuse me again. As we approach this and it bounces up, we could pick up some pads here, giving ourselves just enough boost. Like 24 is enough to cover the whole net, but 36 is great. 36 boost. That's all we needed to bang this to the corner, and then maybe progress as make the play progress, and then pick up boost as we go. So one thing I would say here, as we get comfortable with orienting our car as we land, if you want to make this play, which this is a viable play simply because these guys are out of position, but if you want to make this play, the best thing to do is to, as you land, drive in reverse. Use the momentum that you picked up from jumping off this wall and drive backwards, and then half flip, and then we can get to this ball a lot faster than just turning into it. So practice those mechanics. Practice the half flip. Half flip is so viable in both offense and defensive situations, and this is a prime opportunity for us to use the half flip. And in I want to say like diamonds, low diamonds and plats, you're going to see this a lot where they're going to try to take it off the wall, and they're not necessarily super mechanic or consistent, and so they start dribbling. Even if they do get a nice little dribble, they don't often have the momentum and the speed to take it from their back corner all the way up. If you wanted to do this, like to take it from the back corner, the best thing to do is kind of take it from this side of the wall here, so that we can drive at it with momentum, put momentum behind the ball, and then chase it with speed. But if you're taking it off your back wall, it's also a lot easier to take it from back here than it is from this corner, because as we take it from this corner, it's going to go in an angle, which makes it really tricky to jump off. But nevertheless, if you were to take it from either of these two, the back wall or the corner, the best thing to do is to take it from the midpoint. We're driving up to it with speed so that we can bang it out, like banging it kind of low, so that as we take that touch, the ball stays low enough to where it doesn't hit the ceiling, and then we can chase it and then initiate a dribble, pre-flip or whatever. All advanced mechanics and stuff that, thinking about it. But as we take it in, like when we look at these guys right here trying to air dribble, he doesn't have control of this ball. And so we have to recognize when our opponents are losing control of the ball in the air dribble. Right here, he doesn't have control because he's too spaced out from the ball, and he's dropping faster than the ball is. And so this is a great opportunity for us to just let it drop. Even if you get the touch that he's going to get is going to bounce it off the wall and put it in this zone to where, had we stayed low, we could still get it. But the beauty is that if we stay low enough, like literally if we just don't jump here, if we stay low, we can put a touch on this ball and play it into space with control, and then play the optimal pass. Or even if we wanted to shoot it, we can shoot it too. But the only thing about the shot here is that it's a low percentage shot, because we have to shoot around this guy as he drops, and we also have to be able to put it past our defender here. We don't know how much boost he has, but we know that he's exposed the whole left side, and based on this position, he's not going to get to anything that's shot over here. So if we take our time to set it up, we can put it exactly where we need to. That said, we need to recognize that this guy loses possession so that we can play it into space comfortably. like that you're attempting ground dribbles. This is a very important mechanic to get early on, just because if you have like you're gonna have a lot of space. These guys are giving you a ton of space. This guy right here is leaving. That guy's way in the back. We don't know how much boost they have, but we know that they're trying to get defensive, and none of them are going to reach you in time before this ball catches, before this ball drops to you. Now we have this circle. I think you're trying to read it. You did really good to get this kind of first touch. It's the second touch that we need to kind of work on, right? So this first touch is nice. We just need to be able to not predict, but like plan this out a little bit, right? So as we get this first touch, we don't want to use too much boost whenever we get this touch. Like, we don't have to use boost, but we really don't want to use boost. And so I don't think you use boost. I gotta rewatch this again. Yeah, you don't use boost. That's good. Now, as after we get this touch, then this is good. We use a little bit of boost to catch up to it, but we feather it. Like, we literally feather it, so that instead of driving into and then putting power behind it, we're kind of just using it to catch up and catch this ball. Now we do overshoot it a little bit, which ends up leading to this second touch that goes a little bit out of our control. And so now at this point, we have a ball that we're trying to chase and force. If you ever see this, the best thing to do is to try to let this ball go for a second bounce. So instead of touching it, we're going to try to like follow it slowly, and then we're going to speed up so that we can put a quick hook shot. And we can do this because once we get this touch, we recognize right here, that this ball's going in that direction. And so if we slow down just slightly, we can put our car right here in this position and then flick into a flick shot, or like air roll flick, right? We air roll to the right and then shoot it to the left. We could shoot it here, or if we want to get optimal position, like placement, we don't even need a lot of power. All we really got to do is put it right here in this zone. This top right, no one's getting to this. Absolutely no one's getting to this shot. Because these guys are oriented and facing left. One's facing in left and one's facing out left. They're covering this whole side pretty well, but this whole side is all exposed. And so all we really got to do when we get this touch right here is see this and drive it a little bit to this side, and then put a flip behind it to put it right in this little corner pocket. Because even as we progress this play, this guy goes deeper into the middle and doesn't cover any of this right side. And this guy's the guy behind the ball is still covering left. And so, just a quick place shot would have beat both of these guys. And they bump each other, so I mean that's even worse, right? We have to expose that miscommunication. Good boost grab. So this is great. I don't know what this opponent was thinking. I don't know why he's so deep. But because of that, like as we see this here, we want to work on that recovery, right? But forget all that for now. As we see this here, we need to recognize that the last defender isn't there, and we have ample time to take the shot. The guy behind us, kind of out of the play still, and even if he was recovered by this point, all we got to do is put it in this bottom right here. No one's reaching this ball. We have ample time. So with that information, like knowing that there's no pressure, we need to just compose ourselves a little bit and line up the shot. We have plenty of time to not really use boost, just line ourselves up and turn into it, and then flick it into this, shoot it into this bottom right. That's really what you want to do early on. Practice your shooting, and to do that is to recognize that you have more time than you think to line up a good shot. The shot is, I want to say like 60% just setup. Maybe 70% setup, and then the rest 30% is placement and power, precision, and all that. But like setup, if you set a ball, like if you line your car up to strike a ball, it's gonna go straight, right? If we line up to shoot a dead center, it's gonna go straight. And then if we you know, depending on where we make our contact, like on the ball, you know, we'll determine how well we put the shot as well. But like that's all minimal stuff. I mean, that's like the last percent of the shot. The 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 main core of a shot is our approach to it. How effective our shot's going to be is how we approach it. And so if we have time, we should take the time to set it up and just kind of stay composed, because you know recognizing that there's no pressure is going to allow us to really turn into this ball properly, and then we can take the shot better. Now that's all going to come with time and practice. I mean, um, you really need to do training packs, shooting packs, and if you have Bakisma on PC, then you can do Coco's Aim Trainer. If not, then we need to, as we train those shooting packs, we need to do them with intention. So like every shot, you know, you're gonna take is gonna be like arbitrarily. Just tell yourself you're gonna put it top left, bottom left, you know, top right, middle, wherever. But that way we can start training ourselves to take shots and placing them exactly where we want to, uh, and in and then the other part to that is recognizing where that zone of the high percentage shot is, because if we can read our defenders, you know, where they are position wise, then we can see where they're leaving the gaps, and that's exactly where we want to put the shot on. So yeah, practice shooting. It's a must. One thing I saw here. So we're using boost to get boost, but unfortunately our teammates like already gonna get that. So unless we're communicating with them, you know, we there's no there's no way for them to know, right? The other thing is, like, as we make this approach, you know, there's confusion because either he gets mid and you get corner, or by this point we can see that he's getting corner. We have time to turn in to get this big pad, but even if we don't get this big pad, the best thing to do, right, is to get these small pads and not use our boost. We don't need to use our boost for this. Just like our teammate, we could realistically, if we can do a wave dash, if we can do a speed flip, that's what we need to be doing. But if we can't do any of that, then we need to flip like he is, to an extent, right? But pick up these pads, because we can clearly see that he's gonna get the big boost. And so unless we're picking up this big pad, we need to pick up these pads. The other thing too is that we can safely pick up this pad, this pad, this pad, this pad, and then this pad, right? Or we can just pick up this pad, this pad, this pad, this pad, this pad, and then rotate. Like we need to be, our back post is right here because the ball's on the right side, and so we need to make this rotation. There are a total of about 5 pads that we can get that'll top us off at 100. And even if we just use like 20 to get to these pads, we're still gonna get upwards of 80 or 70, right? That's more than enough to make a play. We have to subconsciously like really force ourselves to drive in these lanes that are gonna allow us to pick up small pads, so that over time, as we start playing, we're less dependent on these big pads. You know, we're less depending on this one or this one. We don't care about those anymore. We're just picking up small pads and making plays as we go. And then occasionally, you know, if this is like something that's just on the way or viable, then yeah, let's get it. But a lot of players get so dependent on picking up these big pads that they forget boost is all over the place. And then the more people that forget this boost is available, the more boost is available. You know, the more that this boost is available, and we're fighting less for this, and we're in better position because we have boost, because we've already picked these up. We don't need more than like 40, you know, to make a play. I think 40 is what it takes to get to the ceiling, 45. But, you know, we could do a lot with low boost, and a lot more with low boost than we can with 100 boost and out of position. So keep that in mind as you play. Just try to pick up these small pads. getting comfortable as we drive on the pitch, so that we're not making this movement as we're driving into the pole. You caught it, that's good, but we need to really get comfortable with our position as far as defensive posture and awareness of where we are, so that we're not clipping this little curve here. Defensively, our best positioning is going to be like about maybe a third of a card length away from this post. So like as we are now, just kind of having our back wheel here on this line. That's going to be the best place to be, because you're going to be able to drive through, our net without necessarily needing to worry about this post. And each pitch still, shows you this different. But the important aspect of it all is just get comfortable in knowing your position as far as like relative to the back wall or the net or the post, so that we don't have to get our eyes off of the ball and ultimately just lose where it's at, because at this point we really don't know where the ball is at. We also don't know where the shooter's at. And I mean, we can safely assume from here that it's going over net for sure, but we just don't really know, like, if our opponent's flying up here and making it stop dead. And like in the higher ranks, these guys can shoot it from anywhere. Like they can stop it here, and then the second guy can drop in and play it in from the serve. But all this information is information that we need to know, because even with zero boost, we can still cover some of this net. And so if that big boost isn't really like viable as we're going to go for it, then we need to play defensive. Okay, so yeah, I like this. The attempt here, the attempt was nice because we were trying to play it over our opponent into space with one touch. Getting this a little bit faster might have made this successful, but as we didn't, right here is where we make a mistake. We do not want to dive into this ball, because for one, there's no threat here. In whenever you have a chance, go into free play, and I want you to look at the angle that you have to shoot as you approach the wing. Over time, as you get into the corner, this angle becomes something like maybe one card's length away, from post to post. It's just like one card length. It appears that way because the angle is so tight. It's just such a small shooting window that it can be easily covered being in the like front post position. Now in this position, there's a little bit more to shoot on, but from your opponent's perspective, there's really nothing he can shoot on that's super viable, right? Just because it's such a limited window. It's not to say that they can't shoot that. It's just that it's a hard shot, and unless you're playing in the higher ranks, you're rarely going to see that shot. Now, that said, there's no threat, or there's limited threat at least. But any threat that's present here can be covered by your teammate. The real threat here is that we don't know if our second opponent is in the passing lane or is approaching the passing lane, and that's something that we need to cover, because our teammate's covering net. We need to be able to cover that passing lane. And so as we drive here, instead of cutting in and diving on it, we need to approach this approach this center from this angle that we're cutting on, in hopes that as we drive, we're picking up, if we need it, we're picking up boost and rotating on that semicircle so that we can get back post. But as we do this, if it's optional, if it's something that's an option there and it's possible, we gotta look for the demo. We gotta look for the bump. Because this guy's options are so limited on shooting, his best play to make here is passing the ball. And whoever's there needs to go, right? Whoever's there has to go so that there's no shooter. And so if we can demo them, perfect. But at least we take away the passing option and we force a low percentage shot, which our teammate can save, and then we have possession and a counter. Um, Instead of diving into this where we can, possibly end up pinching it out and passing it ourselves, or just getting a poor touch and leaving it and dropping it and then forcing our teammates to have to do something. We give our teammate, the comfort of knowing that there's no shooter, and we give him the comfort that someone's behind him rotating back post. Your job is to make his job easier, and his job is to make your job easier, and that's how teammates are supposed to work together in twos. Same way in threes. It's just threes requires a little bit more rotation than twos. I guess, like, in a sense that tighter rotations because you're playing with three teammates instead of two. Twos allows you to have a little bit more space. Now, something here. Practice landing on your wheels in any surface. Like, whether we jump from the wall, we need to air roll here to orient our car properly. Whether we jump from the pitch to the wall, what have you, we get bumped, anything. Like, once you're in the air, you need to practice landing on our wheels so that we can avoid these janky little touches, jumps and pogos that we don't want. And so if we can land on our wheels, we're going to be more set here earlier to make this defensive play. Now, position wise, this is good. You are last man, but you're also getting shot on, and so you need to close the distance so that this window goes out of the picture. The only thing I would say, like, as we approach this, granted, now at this point we didn't land right. We want to drive a little bit more. Just drive like a hair's length away, a little bit more, so we can pick up a little bit more momentum and then put a proper 50 on this ball. Yes, you want to match your opponent's height, and so at this point, he jumps a little bit later than you do. Like, we pre-jump this right here. It's a split second, but we jump a little too high, and then that's why we end up losing this. So the best thing to do is to just a little bit. It's like a microsecond, not even a microsecond. It's like a second, little bit longer as we approach this window here, because we can still, like, even from this position, right? We can point our nose up higher to cover up this high end, and we can just keep our nose down and we still cover this low end. But if we practice these a little bit more, we can get more comfortable in this position defensively, and then we can make a better challenge in 50. We're the last one here, so this is very difficult, but obviously, like, we have to go for this, and so it's just a matter of how we go for it. Now, also, one thing that's going to help you, anytime you're in a 50 situation, hold your second jump. I think you did here, but I think you also flipped at the end as we approach it. I think if we just, like I said, if we stayed a little bit more grounded, just a slight little bit longer, then we can put a proper 50 on this. But you always want to hold that second jump as much as you can until you make contact with the ball. And then you're flipping, then you're directing. You can't say much about that, really. You're not gonna see, you're gonna see fake kickoffs, but the only way that I can really tell you to train this is to look at the guy that's you're facing on kickoffs to see what he's doing, and in this position we kind of saw off the corner of eye that he was off the corner of the ball rather that he was backflipping into boost right here, and so recognizing that we haven't beat, if we can do a speed flip, this would be optimal. Like, speed flips are yes, they're a difficult mechanic. but they're relatively simple, like as far as movements. If you want to learn speed flips, here's how you do them. You put your now we're gonna do like the way I do them is with left arrow. If you feel like you want to do it with right arrow, just do the exact inverse of what I'm talking about. Meaning, like for me right now, left arrow is putting the stick initially at the 11, 10:30 ish on the clock. So 10:30, 11. That's gonna give you a diagonal flip. And if we're doing right arrow, then it would be something like 1 to 1:30, right? We want to get that tight diagonal flip. And there's a little bit of forgiveness on this as far as if we don't get the perfect diagonal flip. But we want to get it in that zone as close as we can. Now, the part that there really isn't forgiveness for is the second part, the cancel. So after we do diagonal flip, almost simultaneously as like almost at the exact same time after we get our second jump to the flip, we want to pull that cancel. We want to flick that stick back, and we're pulling it back directly to the 6 o'clock. The sharper you get to the 6 o'clock, the more straight your diagonal flip cancel is going to be, and so your car is going to be straight. If we get these two components right with the jumps, right? If we get them right, we're going to keep our car low to the ground, and we're going to recover straight. The last thing that we need to do as we're like after we're canceling is to do a little bit of arrow. And if you did it on the left side, then it's left arrow. If your sticks were on the right side, it's right arrow. And then as you land, you drift. Now it's a lot, but again, timing is key. So it's a matter of putting that stick diagonal flip and then canceling immediately after your second jump, like immediately. And then as you land, arrow, drift. The one thing I'll tell you, like early on, you're gonna see a lot of like where you're diagonal flipping and canceling, and then like your car's going left or right really really awkwardly. That just means that we're not getting our cancel straight to the 6 o'clock, and our there's a possibility also that our diagonal flip isn't as sharp. So it's really important to get those movements right, and that stick cannot deviate from the 6 o'clock. So we have to pull it straight back. That's how you get the speed flip. Now, in this situation, once you get the speed flip kickoff, we have a quick shot on net. But in this case, since we're not doing that, the best thing to do is to try to conserve our boost, right? And to do that, we have to just kind of flip into it instead of drift. We have to flip into this ball now. At this point, there's a couple things you could do. Even if you don't, just try to put the quick shot on net, sure. But you have time, you could do other things as well. It's a hard situation to really coach because you're not going to see it very often. But when you do, just kind of try to recognize that you have time and position of the ball, so you can drive it up to the side and pick up boost or get behind it and pass it back to your teammate. So anything you can do to keep possession is important. In this position, as we get this big boost, we want to limit how much options we're blocking for our teammate, and so we want to rotate. We want to rotate fast. There's one thing I'll say, like if you're putting pressure on the wing, like say the opponent had the ball and they're driving up the wing, and you're putting pressure as first man around this pad right here. There should be a line here, going from this pad to the end. This is like the last point of where we follow. If our man is over here, like our second man is covering our net. Because two things, even if he wasn't there, then right here we can cut the angle. As they drive up the wing, we can cut the angle. or if he is there, then we can safely rotate and pick up, more than 3 pads. And it's a semicircle, so it's like actually it's closer to in between these 2 pads. This pad's a little bit up ahead, so I don't want to say this pad just because it's a little too close. I think this pad's really good to say the line starts here, and then like just picture this pad is like the last line, and just have a little zone right here to kind of guide you, because right here as we drive, then we can pick up pads and rotate. Alternatively, if they're driving up the wing, we can cut in and intercept at this point. But right here, we want to rotate. We don't want to jump on this like at all. We're making it too hard for our teammate to do anything, because now he has to play around us, and he's second guessing like what you're doing and what we're doing, and it's just a really tough touch for him because we got in his way. So right here, this ball is effectively going over us. There's nothing we can really do. You did get to pick up boost. We need to make this decision a little faster. And then as we get bumped here and kind of land awkward, we need to commit to rotating out. Like this at this point, you have to get out. Like there's nothing we're doing here that's like from this point on, really. Right here we had a chance, but then it bounced super bad for us, and so our chance is gone. There's no potential for us, is what I'm saying. Like there's no value that we're adding to this play, and so at this point, as we land, we need to rotate. We need to rotate out, and we don't need to rotate that deep. Like we have 100 boost, we can just come over here, like as we're doing. We're committing to driving. And we're letting our teammate do this. We're letting our teammate take the shot because he's setting himself up. We see that he lands kind of cleanly. We need to be a little more patient and just kind of come out. That's fine if we're cutting here, but we need to cut into like this zone. We need to cut behind this orange tip of the line right here so that we can come in and get into this pocket. And now, like as we're closing in here, we're a passing option. Even if our teammate doesn't pass it, he just goes for a greedy shot, misses, we can clean it up from this point. From here, it's too easy for him to know what's going to happen. Our opponent knows exactly what's going to happen. The shot's going to come from this angle. And then the bounce off the wall is really difficult for us to take this shot and drill it in. And so now we have our teammate taking another awkward shot when if we look it back, our teammate had probably a little bit of a better shot than we did. He's got more space between him and the ball. He's able to read exactly where this ball's going to go, and then if he puts a soft or even a power shot, he doesn't need to put power behind it. He just needs to put it really well placed. He's got this guy beat. This whole top right, this whole bottom right, everything over here is a high percentage location to put the shot on, because this guy bites. This guy down here, he comes up. He's just whole net exposed. And so being a little bit more patient and not going for the shot, making ourselves a passing option instead of the lead striker is going to allow us to win this, win this game. Now, I like this pressure. A lot of what you'll see early on is these guys doubling. Your opponent's double on the wing or whatever. If we recognize this and we're first man and we challenge this, like this is a very possible scoring option play for us. Like we can take this ball away from them, and then boom, nobody's defending because they both double committed. The beautiful thing about this is that we're first man and our teammate's second man, and he's clearly like somewhere back behind us. And so even if they get past us, like there's a defender back there at least, right? So excuse me, good pressure. Like right here, this is perfect. We take the ball away. it suddenly becomes a passing option, right? Um, and then I like our idea now. The only thing I would say is like as we if we're gonna be playing ball cam on and off, make sure that we're lined up properly. And then if we deviate from this, like at this point, we need to use this. Like realistically, man, I'm gonna tell you what. Every pitch shows lanes and boost locations differently, but almost every single one has like three constants. For one, this curve. This curve's always there, and it's always the exact same distance from the boost pad. Two, this white line that we're about to encounter, there's always a line just like this one delimiting this side of the pitch from the inside of the pitch. Like there's always this line. And then the third thing is the boost. The boost is always going to like be a good line. But I guess really I shouldn't be saying the boost. The third thing is the midline. The midline's always going to encompass this big pads. And so if we're going for this, like we need to kind of pay attention to all of this. Like one or the other. Either we pay attention to the midline, we know where the boost is. We pay attention to these, outside lines of the pitch. As we're driving, we know where the boost is. Pay attention to this curve. We know where the boost is. Like there's all these visual indicators that can help us figure out where these boosts are without necessarily taking our eyes off the ball. And it's just a matter of getting comfortable with, paying attention to this as you're paying attention to this ball, and recognizing that right now priority is probably getting boost because this ball's on their side of the net, or sorry, other side of the pitch. They may have possession, but there's nothing they can do outside of a pinch that's going to put enough speed on this ball to get to our net before we can really like drive up there. And so it's very unlikely that they're going to pinch it, right? It's just super unlikely. You see it, but you don't see it that frequently. And so there's no reason for us to be feeling threatened by that. That said, try to get comfortable, really like driving around the pitch, picking up pads as you go, like the small pads, big pads, everything. One of the best things to do is just kind of try to learn speed mechanics, like the speed flip, dashes, recoveries, and everything as you're driving on the pitch. Do it really fast and chase the ball. The reason we say that that's a really good way to practice is because it teaches you, where the boost is, and do it all with standard boost. Don't do auto refill or full boost, because we wanna make sure that we're picking up pads, and so and boost, right? And so like practicing all these things in free play like helps you really get a really good sense of where your position is on the pitch, and then we can use all that to stay involved in the play and everything. It's a fundamental that we can build on. That's one thing I would say to practice. Yeah, you're gonna see this a lot. This is a very viable play. Well done. In the lower rank, it's awesome. Good shot. One thing I would say though, I don't think I'd say anything at all, to be honest. That's really good. There's really not much you can do to improve that play. Like maybe make it a little faster, but whatever. You did good. A second man, we want to cheat every time, really. As our teammate takes this kickoff, we can drive up pick up this pad instead of driving backwards. Like we're still gonna get boost. We're just gonna be in a better position. And you see how this guy cheated your opponent? There's multiple reasons why we want to cheat. For one, if our opponents cheat, then we can play a 50 and not allow them to have the opportunity to take a quick shot. Two, if our opponents don't cheat and the ball's killed dead center or kind of in the zone where it's killed right now, we have the opportunity to get a quick shot. Three, if we're cheating dead center, if this ball goes left to right, we have the best opportunity to get to it simply by being in the middle and driving up. It is so good to cheat up. You can do a lot. Just putting a quick shot, I mean, you can do a lot. So as you cheat up, pick up this pad, and then you're gonna pick up this pad, and then you're gonna put a shot on net, and you're gonna be, just profiting left and right. So cheat up for sure. Now, one thing, I think at this point we're making it to where we can get two things at once, right? We are in line to get the boost, and we really shouldn't. We really should be attacking this ball. But then we slow down to attack the ball, because we're just not going to get boost, and this guy's going to beat us if we do get boost. So, best thing to do is, once we cheat, then attack the ball. Like instead of cutting out, cut in. Attack this ball. We want to take this ball away from our opponent. Now, we do that, we have an open net. We don't need a lot of boost to get to it. We attack this ball, it kind of goes over here, maybe bounces out into the center. Doesn't matter, we have pace. We have pace and time. I mean, this guy's not going to get to us. This guy's going to commit out of the play, and then our teammate's going to, possibly get this boost and follow us. But I mean, it's going to put us in a better situation because now, we may have the ball, we just don't have the boost, but our opponent does, and so he's able to, be a pesky defender. I think we're trying to zap wave dash here, right? Okay. The reason why this didn't work is because we're diagonal flipping off a curve, and so now we're landing kind of awkward in our back wheels. This is where, if we wanted to go back, this is where drift is important to use again. But really, we want to drive up here. We want to drive on this wall and then jump off of it and zap dash. Or sorry, I keep saying zap dash. We want to drive up the wall and wave dash. We drive up here, we jump. If the wall is on our left side, on our right side like it is right now, we're gonna air roll right and then point our nose up so that our back two tires are landing first on the pitch, and as they land, then we front flip, and that's going to give us bursts of speed without using any boost, more than this diagonal flip is going to give us. The other cool thing is once we do that, then we can pick up this boost, rotate out, or what have you. Wave dashes are going to be a huge mechanic. I highly recommend just off the wall wave dash, on the wall wave dash, on the pitch wave dash, all of that. It's so good. You're gonna love it. I like the intention. Had we cut it to that ball, it would have been amazing, right? Had we successfully cut it to this ball right here, we could have done a lot. This is simply just getting comfortable with reading where this ball is going to bounce. I think one of the things we've been doing would have been really good to do here for you. Just go off the ball cam. The pitch gives us a white indicator, right? We can see where the trajectory is and just kind of land on it. Um, Early on, that'd be good, but as we progress, ball cam, keeping it on ball cam is good. It's more important because we can still read this. We just, you know, we get the benefit of, as we, if we had ball cam, that we can see where our defenders are, as opposed to turning this off and then kind of just not looking. So, well, I do think that, having this on ball cam is more important right now. I think in this situation, we could have just kind of turned it off and read where it's gonna go. But yeah, like, had we cut this perfectly, like, such an open pocket right here to just drill it in. And I really like that we're leaving early. Like, once we recognize that we're just beat, we're leaving. This is exactly what you want to do, especially with your last man, because the more space that we create in this situation between ourselves and the shooter and the ball, the easier the shot becomes to defend. So as we do this, is great. We play it into the wall, we buy some time, and then they kind of back away. Now we have possession. Wow, what a touch. Ooh, so close. Oh, how tough. That is mad unfortunate. I really like this play. Right here. Sorry, no, this isn't it. Right here, this is a great touch. I mean, just phenomenal pop-up. I can't tell if you're going off a ball cam. If you are, no. If you are, we don't want to do that. Like right here, as we pop it up, we want to be on ball cam. Like, we can still see these guys on ball cam. But the thing about ball cam is that it's going to allow us to really, like, dictate where this ball's going to go as we dribble it. Something that non-ball cam is going to kind of give us a little bit of a lackluster control on it. Now, it's not to say that you can't do it. It's just right now we want to, as we learn, we want to prioritize keeping our eyes on the ball, and then getting the benefit of seeing where they're at. Now, phenomenal touch, ball came on, just taking a shot. As we take the shot, this is another one of those situations where we can really, like, benefit from possibly lining it up a little bit more. And right here you have options. I mean, like, realistically, like, the best shot's right here, right? How can we get to that? By driving to this side. Now, the ball's kind of coming with some pace, and so as we're getting here, I think the best thing to do is to kind of hold your jump until the very last second, because look at it from this perspective. Like, this ball is yours. This ball isn't bouncing in. There's no chance for your opponent to get to this ball before you do. And so with that information, we have more time. We have enough space to like really put this shot in. And so this is just reading, right, where this ball's going to go, but more importantly, reading how much space we have between the ball and the opponent versus space between us and the ball. Less space here, more space here. We have time. This ball's coming out, creating more space between the ball and the opponent. Less space between us, and so we could hold our jump until the very last second and put a really good shot on. Like, if we would just chip it, great shot, right? Just making this percentage like this. It's almost like this is a high percentage shot. But as we put it to the right, it becomes a lower percentage shot. If we put it to the left, this is a guaranteed goal. And so it really just becomes about maintaining a high percentage shot and making it even better, right? Um, just looking for that opportunity. Now you were really close, and I think our teammate was really close. He just unfortunately breaks the shot, and so a scoring opportunity now becomes a defensive one. That was a good pinch. But yet another situation where like doing this with ball cam is so much better than doing this without ball cam, because like right here, yeah, we can see where we're gonna try to pinch it. If we had ball cam on, we could really like tell, you know, that we're just slightly off, and so there's so much opportunity for us to miss if we don't have ball cam on. Good shot, though. Wow, that was a good shot. That was good. That was a little flashy. That was good. I like it. Yeah, that was, I mean, see, like, now they're just giving you space. There's nothing I can really coach you anything anymore here. Like, there's no defensive pressure, so there's no way for me to really tell you, like, do this differently. But this, I mean, everybody's done. Just recognize this space that they give you early. That's really the key. That said, I'm going to provide you with this video. Yeah, I really hope it helps. But if you have any questions, like as far as mechanics go, I can provide another video. Or even if you want to try to schedule a live session, we could do that later. But yeah, practice wave dashes and then practice speed flips if you can. But more importantly, like as we talked about earlier, you know, rotate defensively. I think it's going to be like the biggest thing that I can tell you that's going to help you so much is you know, in situations like this early, you know, where, let me see if I can find one. Like right here, yeah. This is a perfect example. If we can eliminate this entirely, like where we're cutting rotations and making a very difficult challenge, or like even earlier or later down the game, there was another situation where we ran into this. Right. Wanna see where it's at. Right here. Yeah, perfect. Might have been earlier in the game. If we can eliminate this situation entirely, and meaning any ball that we're diving into that's like we're diving in towards our net, just eliminate that. Unless it's a shot on target and we need to dive into the shot, you know, uncomfortable save type of thing where we're needing to bang it off the backboard. That makes sense. But like right here, nah, brother, we need to get rid of this. We need to get out of our teammates' way. If we can do that, then we're going to find ourselves in a lot better positions to score. But ultimately, like, this comes down to defensive rotations. This is like where we really need to focus. As we progress in the ranks, you know, it becomes less of a game of I'm going to, you know, make every goal or whatever. I want to make so many goals, but more so of attrition. Like we need to be able to survive constant pressure and like defensive pressure, offensive pressure, what have you. We need to be able to master rotations and positioning so that we can survive that offensive pressure. Because in the higher ranks and as you progress, you're going to start running into teams where it's like they're rotating so much, they're everywhere, and every shot's like back to back, and we're just under defensive pressure the whole time. that's when rotations are going to be your best friend. They're going to save you, and so we need to really establish the fundamentals early. So big, big improvements going to be seen right here. You know, rotating instead of diving into these balls that are, you know, where you're diving into your net essentially. Because like we just don't have to go for every ball, you know. And so being able to eliminate that, huge. And then like the last thing, shooting. Um, I'm not entirely sure what rank this is. I want to say we're in like low diamond, plat lobbies. You have a lot of time to shoot. So as we see that, you know, try to like put yourself in better positions to shoot. And let's try to avoid doubling. You know, let's just make ourselves a passing option instead of the primary striker. You're gonna get a lot more goals cleaning up in this rank than you are, you know, striking it from this angle. This is a very hard shot early on because, you know, the ball's coming over here, and it's we're not reading it properly, and so, you know, there's even the way your teammates was shooting throughout this game. I don't think he would make this shot, and so it's better for us to find ourselves in these positions, like down here, where, you know, our teammate misses, and now we're able to clean it up. So just think about it. Think about the game instead of like the first shot going in. Think about the second opportunity that's going to present itself after that shot, so that you can be in that position to take that second opportunity and just drill it. But that's all I got for you, man. Again, if you have any questions, let me know, and then if you want to do mechanic breakdowns, and we can also talk about those later. Hope this helps, and I'll catch you later.